listen, here's the thing with looking at prospects and talking about the draft from the time the football season ends, and unfortunately for us, we started talking about the draft in early January. Several teams who their fan base didn't talk about the draft until February at some point, but we've been talking about this draft for a long time, and we get to know the prospects a little more and more, a little better with each week passing, with each expert we have on, which each show you listen to, and you find out more and more about these guys. So, listen, for an opinion to change about a player or two here or there, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's why you don't draft in January. We're no different than GMs and coaches who may have felt a certain way about a player prior to getting a chance to actually talk to the kid, do some extensive background work on the kid. See, the thing what goes into drafting people, it isn't just what you see on film. It's the investment that you're going to put in the guy and whether or not the guy is going to be reliable. Scheme fit. How does he fit into your locker room? How does he fit into what you want to do? How do you envision him not just now, but 2-3 years down the road? Is he a better player now than he's going to be 4 years down the road? Has he hit his ceiling? Or is he a young player that has X amount of room to grow from year 2 to 3, 4, 5? Meaning that this could be a young guy who's nearly scratched the surface at the collegiate level because he played behind a couple players, but you see this guy in 3 or 4 years, he has a chance to be an all-pro. Yeah. This is why they pay those guys the big bucks. Because this is what they had to project when drafting a guy. This is what you have to do. This is why guys that are in basketball, more finished products possibly coming out of college because they played 3 or 4 years versus a guy who's raw, who's 18 years old. That guy gets drafted higher because you project for 3 or 4 years, this is what he's really going to look like. Drafts are hit and miss. Players, you fall in love with them, you fall out of love with them over the course of evaluating them. Mm-hmm. I've said this from day one. At 14, it's going to be difficult for the Eagles to take a player that the majority of the fan base won't like. It may not be the guy that we've talked about, that we've looked at more film on, and we looked at more YouTube clips of, so we sort of hitched our wagon to that guy just for the sake of debates and calling up to the talk shows and talking about it. But the fact of the matter is, they're sitting at 14. A couple of these scrub quarterbacks are going to get pushed up in front of them.
Don't believe for a minute the Browns are taking Trubisky at 1.
No, they may take him at 12.
And if they do, they're idiots.
But let's let them do it.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't think, you can make an argument. None of these guys are first-round draft picks, but they don't mean they won't be taken.
Yep.
And the more of them that are taken prior to 14, the better it is for the Eagles. That's going to push somebody down to you. So I've said, you're going to get a good player. Williams, Mike Williams I'm speaking of, Corey Davis, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, possibly Leonard Fournette, Reuben Foster, corners there, Garyon Conley that you mentioned. This is what you're going to get. You got to take the right guy. Mm-hmm. I just got a feeling they're going offense. That's all. I got a feeling they're going offense, and if you're going to go offense, running back is where they're going.
Well, that's
where they're going on offense.